Yo, what's up guys, welcome back to another video. This is a reaction to USA geography facts and trivia, populations, elevations and sizes. Yeah, this is from Geography King, so you just know full well that the facts here will be a lot of facts that you've just never heard of before. He knows very niche things, especially when it comes to geography. He's just very well versed in this subject. I'm sure in many others as well, but obviously his channel is based on geography. But yeah, we're going to check this out and see, because I'm interested to see these facts. I do enjoy doing these videos, and when it comes to Geography King, he's just very fun and enjoyable to watch. So yeah, we're going to jump into this. Hopefully going to enjoy. Hopefully you're doing well. And let's check this video out.
Howdy, it's Kyle going over some interesting facts and trivia about U.S. geography relating to cities, counties, and states. Previously, I've posted a video talking about the longest and deepest canyons, tallest waterfalls, deepest lakes, longest caves, and other physical features like that. I'll leave a link in the description to that one if you want to check it out. But here I want to go over things regarding more people type things. So cities and counties and states. So things like population, density, area, and elevation, just to check out some other type of facts for the US. And after this, you'll know all kinds of really cool trivia about geography. You can impress your friends with knowledge about what the lowest elevation city in the country is and other stuff like that. So let's check out some interesting facts and trivia about US geography. I'm going to start by talking about capital cities. The most populous capital in the country is Phoenix, Arizona, with almost 1.7 million people.
When he says he means state capitals, doesn't he?
The population has doubled since 1990, and there's been massive growth since 1950 with the advent of central air conditioning. Phoenix is
Imagine living in this city before aircon. God damn.
More than 1.5 times the size of Austin, Texas, which is the second most populous capital in the U.S. The most populous capital metro area in the country is Atlanta, Georgia, with about 6.3 million people in the metro area. It's the 6th largest metro in the country.
Jesus.
If you're looking at combined metros,
Atlanta's green. Bloody hell, I didn't know it was this green. Look at all the trees.
The Boston, Massachusetts, Providence, Rhode Island combined metro area, because they're both state capitals, would be larger than Atlanta, but the overall single largest capital city metro area is Atlanta. The least populous capital city in the U.S. is
8,000 people for a capital city. Montpellier,
Vermont.
Or Montpellier. It's the same place. There's a place in France called that as well. I think just double L instead of just one L.
Vermont, with about 8,000 people. There are only 648,000 people in the entire state of Vermont. It's the second least populous state in the country, so you would expect the capital city to be small. There was a major flood that occurred there in 2023. I'm not sure how much that has affected the population, if at all, but either way, Montpelier, Vermont.
It's also a beautiful image of this place as well.
Is the least populous capital city in the U.S. For capital buildings, the tallest one is the one in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. It stands at about 450 feet. It's one of 3 state capitals that is a high-rise. The other 2 are Nebraska and North Dakota. The shortest of the state capitol buildings in the U.S. is the one in Santa Fe, New Mexico. It only stands at 35 feet. It's a 3-story building.
Damn.
Keeping it in New Mexico, the capital...
Why would you make it so tall? I guess it just makes it stand out, I guess.
City at the highest elevation is Santa Fe. It sits at 7,200 feet. That's more than 1,000 feet above the second highest, which is Cheyenne, Wyoming, at just over 6,000.
Highest elevation capital? I thought like Denver would be here or something. Colorado I thought would have some cities here, but I guess actually it's capitals, isn't it? So
1,000 feet. And Denver, Colorado, the mile-high city at 5,280 feet, is the 3rd highest state capital in the country.
Oh, it's actually higher than Denver. Damn, how is it so high? I mean, I know how it's so high. They built it on land that's very high up, but I just always associate like these sorts of specific facts with like Colorado. I didn't know there was the same in Santa Fe.
The lowest elevation state capital in the U.S. is Honolulu, Hawaii. It sits at only 16 feet above sea level. Damn. Of course, it's right there along the ocean. The second lowest...
God, I can imagine there's going to be like some devastating tsunami here at one point, man. I hope not, but I feel like this is prime position for that specific thing.
Elevation capital in the U.S. is Dover, Delaware at 30 feet, which is not along the coast. And something else for Santa Fe, it's the oldest state capital in the U.S. It was founded in 1610, and it's the oldest European settlement in the U.S. west of the Mississippi River.
Damn.
The overall oldest European settlement in the U.S. is St. Augustine, Florida, which was founded by the Spanish in 1565.
Oh shit.
Now, for just cities as a whole, the largest city in the U.S. in population is New York City with about 8.2 million people.
Yep.
It's also the most densely populated large city in the country. There are a couple of suburbs in the U.S. that are more densely populated than this, but New York is, in terms of big city, the most dense. At over 8 million people, it's more than twice the size of Los Angeles,
Mad,
the
right?
second largest.
You compare the greenery here to a lot of to Atlanta, for example. Obviously, it's a different ball game. I mean, New York is New York, and I see a little bit of greenery here and there, and it's probably London's probably a very similar look to this as well. To be fair. But it's just like, when you really think about it, and there's just no greenery at all. It's just all buildings. God damn.
For the city in the U.S.
Some people will genuinely go days without seeing proper greenery. Because I assume a lot of people will live and work in these places. Not a lot of people. Maybe if you're very, very wealthy. I assume some of these buildings are livable buildings, right? But, yeah, it's just the life, man.
And New York City alone has more people than 38 states. For the lowest population town in the U.S., there isn't a single one. There are actually quite a few with a population that's anywhere between 1 and 3 people, where it might just be a single guy or one small family. So I was hoping there would be one that is like the one, but there's actually quite a few with less than 5 people.
Damn.
The largest city that sits along one of the Great Lakes is Chicago, Illinois. There are about 2.6 million people that live in the city of Chicago. So New York, LA, and Chicago might be the largest.
The beach in Chicago is actually beautiful. I feel like the right time of year, the beach here must be unreal. Like, the water looks so blue, and the beach looks beautiful as well. And it's like greenery. You got the city skyline just behind you. It is unreal.
In population, but not in area. In area, the largest incorporated city in the country is Sitka, Alaska, which is over 2,870 square miles. Now, obviously, the town itself is very small, and the vast majority of that land is just open wilderness outside of the town. The largest town in the contiguous U.S. is Tribune, Kansas. It's about 778 square miles, and it's a joint city-county consolidation with Greeley County. That occurred in 2009, but prior to that, the largest city-county consolidation in the country was Jacksonville, Florida. And if you've ever met somebody from Jacksonville, they will let you know within the first 30 seconds that the city is actually the largest city in Florida in terms of population and area. The most populous suburb in the U.S. is Mesa, Arizona, with about 510,000 people. It's a suburb of Phoenix and is the only suburb in the U.S. that has over 500,000 people by itself. Phoenix, as a metro, doesn't have a large number of suburbs. There's a handful of them that each have 6 figures in population. So Phoenix, the most populous capital city, and Mesa, the most populous suburb in the country. The most populous island in the country is Long Island.
I'm actually deeping it. This is such a mad location to have a massive major city. It's just in between all these mountains, just surrounded. That is unreal. I can't imagine how mad that must be to live somewhere like this. Like, cities in the UK, it's like there's nothing comparable to this whatsoever. There's literally mountains surrounding it. I feel like from your back garden, will you just get views of the mountains surrounding you? Like, that might be a really stupid question, because of course you would. But I was thinking maybe there's bigger buildings in your way and stuff, but god damn, that is crazy.
The most populous island in the country is Long Island, New York, with about 8 million people. The physical feature of Long Island includes the boroughs of Brooklyn and Queens, which are part of New York City, as well as Nassau and Suffolk County. I think people that live in Brooklyn and Queens don't normally say they live on Long Island, even though they do live on the physical feature. And now I'm going to talk about elevation. The highest altitude incorporated town in the U.S. is Alma, Colorado. It stands at 10,361 feet. In fact, every town in the U.S. over 8,700 feet is in Colorado, except for one in Utah. And all of the towns in the U.S. over 7,900 feet are in Colorado, Utah, or New Mexico. Alma, Colorado only has about 300 people. The highest elevation city in the U.S. with over 10,000 people is Los Alamos, New Mexico at 7,320 feet. Earlier, I had mentioned how Santa Fe is the highest elevation capital in the country. It's also the highest elevation city in the U.S., over 15,000 people, and it has 84,000 people.
Holy shit.
The lowest elevation town in the U.S. is beautiful Bombay Beach, California. It sits at 226 feet below sea level along the shores of the Salton Sea. In fact, every town in the
Oh,
U.S. except for one that's below sea level is in this part of southeastern California. And you may know about the Salton Sea, that giant lake in southeastern California. Well, that's a big engineering disaster. They were
yeah.
trying to pipe water from the Colorado
This
River
is again. This is the isn't this the lake in GTA as well? Basically, there's no life here, and yeah, loads of bad stuff.
to Los Angeles, but there was a failure in it, and because it's below sea level, all that water spilled and left a giant lake. But most of that entire county of Imperial County, which has about 180,000 people, is below sea level. The only other town in the US that has portions below sea level is New Orleans. Portions of the city are about 7 feet below sea level, but a good chunk of New Orleans is above sea level. Now I want to talk about the most and least primate metro areas in the US. In a high primate metro, the largest city is a large percentage of the overall area population. And it's the opposite for a low primate metro, where the center city is a relatively small part of the overall metro population.
Okay.
The highest primate metro area over 1 million people is El Paso, Texas. The city of El Paso's population is 870,000. The metro area is about 1.1 million, so 79% of the overall metro population lives in El Paso. That's the most primate metro over 1 million. The most primate metro over 2 million is Columbus, Ohio. The city has 913,000 people. The metro has about 2.2 million. About 42% of the overall metro population lives in the city of Columbus. The least primate large metro in the US is Atlanta. There are 510,000 people in the city and over 6.3 million in the metro, so only 8% of the overall Atlanta metro population lives in the city of Atlanta itself.
I guess that sort of explains why it's so green, because there's so much greenery. I guess it just means there's a lot more spread out, which I am a fan of, to be fair. But is this like this is the downtown, right? For Atlanta. Look how green it is. I mean, I assume it's the downtown. This is all like the major like skyscrapers and stuff, I assume. Damn, I did not know Atlanta was such a green place.
Now, going over to county statistics, the most populous county in the US is Los Angeles County at about 9.6 million people. That's more people than 40 states, although right now there is a population decline. But even before the population decline since 2020, there was very slow growth going back to 2000. The least populous county in the country is Loving County, Texas, with about 43 people. I'm not sure what's
Wow,
going on there, but at the 2020 census, there were 64 people. That has to
64 people in a county. Wait, what? That is mad.
be the highest population percentage decrease of any county in the US. About 1/3 of the people have left in the past 3 years. The largest county in area in the US is San Bernardino County in Southern California. It's over 20,000 square miles, which is larger than 9 states and almost as large as West Virginia. The population of the entire county is over 2 million people, but the vast majority live in the southwestern corner, which is basically suburbs to Los Angeles. The vast majority of the area of the county is just open Mojave Desert. The largest county equivalent in the US is the Yukon-Koyukuk Borough in Alaska. It's about 146,000 square miles, which is about the
Damn.
size of Montana or Bangladesh.
Wow.
At the far other end of the spectrum is the smallest county in the country, Kalawao County, Hawaii. It's only about 12 square miles, and at one point it was essentially a quarantine for people with leprosy. The
Jesus
smallest
Christ.
county equivalent in the US is Falls Church, Virginia. It's only 2 square miles. Virginia has
What?
this weird thing where they have cities and towns that aren't part of counties, so Falls Church is not in a county, so it's the smallest county equivalent in the country, and again, only 2 square miles. The county with the highest population density in the country is New York County, which is just the Manhattan borough of New York City. There are about 69,000 people per square mile there. That's pretty crowded. The least densely populated county in the country is again good old Loving County, Texas, only 0.1 person per square mile. But that's
Wow.
essentially Manhattan compared to the Yukon-Koyukuk census area in Alaska. There's only 0.03 people per square mile there.
I mean, I'm not surprised because Alaska is known to be so isolated.
Now I want to start talking about some state trivia. The largest state in the country and area is, of course, Alaska. You can see here just how big it is compared to the contiguous U.S. Texas is the largest state in the contiguous U.S., but Alaska is more than twice the size of Texas. At the other end of the spectrum, Rhode Island is the smallest state in the country in area. The state with the highest population density is New Jersey. There are over 9.
Wait, Rhode Island's smaller than Hawaii. Damn.
9 million people that live in this small state, and it has over 1,200 people per square mile. And of course, the state with the lowest population density is Alaska. There are only 700,000 people in that giant state and only one person per square mile there. Of the contiguous 48 states, Wyoming has the lowest population density. There are about 600,000 people that live there and 6,000 people per square mile. So here's a trivia question for you. What state is closest in size to the Big Island in Hawaii? Maine, Massachusetts, Connecticut, or Rhode Island? Hawaii is one of the smallest states in the country in area, but whenever we see Hawaii on a U.S. map, it's always kind of like this. You don't really know how big it is.
Yeah.
And the answer is Connecticut. And the
Oh, damn. Okay, Rhode Island is tiny, actually. But that, I maybe retract what I just said.
Big Island itself is the largest island in the U.S., although, again, Long Island is the largest of the contiguous U.S. Although, is it really contiguous if it's offshore? Amongst the coastal states, the states that have the highest percentage of the population living in a coastal county are Hawaii, Delaware, and Rhode Island, where 100% of the people that live there live in a coastal county. Fourth on the list would be Florida. About 75% of the population there lives in a coastal county. And at the far other end of this category, the state with the least percentage of the population living in a coastal county is Oregon. Only 14% of the population in Oregon lives in a coastal county. And that even includes Lane County, where Eugene is, even though Eugene is pretty far inland. The entire Oregon coast is just state parks and small towns. Amongst the Great Lakes states, the state with the highest percentage of the population living in a county that borders one of the lakes is Illinois. Approximately half of the population of Illinois, about 6 million people, live in either Cook County, which is where Chicago is, or Lake County, which is just north of that goes up to the Wisconsin state line. The Great Lakes state that has the fewest percentage of the population living in one of the Great Lakes counties is Pennsylvania. There are about 12.9 people in Pennsylvania and only 270,000 people in Erie County, which is the only county that borders one of the Great Lakes. So only 2% of the Pennsylvania population lives on a Great Lake.
Damn.
I think most people know that Denali in Alaska.
That picture is so incredible.
Alaska is the highest point in the U.S. at over 20,000.
That is a mad picture. Flipping hell. I want to just look at one of like Kilimanjaro, because I feel like Kilimanjaro might be the most incredible, like looking, that you get the best images of Kilimanjaro. It's Killer Man. Not Killer Man. Just come on, just show. There you go. Yeah, that is mad. I mean, I can't, like, nothing comes close to this. That is mad. But then you sort of have, I feel like Mount Everest. It's not, like, it's incredible. Don't get me wrong. Like, it's absolutely mad because it's in like a mountain range and stuff. Oh, okay. But you don't get the breathtaking images like this or like that. Like, look at that. Okay, it's not loading. I don't know. My Wi-Fi's being terrible. Okay, I mean, it's incredible. I'm not going to really compare them. Just enjoy them, you know? Just don't compare them. But it doesn't stand out as much because it's in a load of other... It's in a mountain range of loads of other tall mountains. That is mental. There's nothing that comes close to that. But to be fair, this is a very beautiful sight. And maybe certain times it could... I mean, actually, no, this is beautiful. I'm not going to lie. I mean, I brought this up because I thought this does look unreal, but it's got some competition.
1,300 feet. The state with the lowest, highest elevation is Florida. It's Britton Hill at only 345 feet. The state with the lowest average elevation across the entire state is Delaware. The average elevation is only 45 feet.
Jesus.
And at the other end of the spectrum, the state with the highest average elevation across the entire state is Colorado. The average elevation is over 6,800 feet, and the lowest point in the entire state is 3,300 feet. Hey, Colorado, you've got all those 14ers, but you don't have the highest one. Now, do you? Mount Whitney! So that was my look at some interesting geography facts and trivia. And
God damn, I was caught off guard there. Love the Long Island note. Nicely done, Kyle. I've never heard of word primate used to mean anything other than a monkey or an ape. Cool to learn a new word. Yeah, I was sort of a bit taken off guard. I didn't really know what that meant, but he explained it well. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this reaction. I do enjoy these videos. The more there are, the merrier, because I just enjoy doing these types of videos, learning about geography facts. It's just fun. But hopefully you guys enjoyed this reaction. I think I've just said that 4 times. And yeah, until next time, like, subscribe, and peace.